My younger sister is a child prodigy. She started speaking at 6 months old and could recite the multiplication table from 9 times 9 backward fluently at the age of 4. The whole family treats her like a treasure. As her elder sister, I advised my parents, talent can't be relied on for a lifetime. The day after tomorrow learning is equally important. But they thought I was jealous of my younger sister. Because of my diligence and hard work, I am loved by teachers and students. My younger sister is ignorant and has been interviewed by the school many times. In the long run, she holds a grudge against me and runs me over and kills me with a car. When I open my eyes again, I am back in the second year of junior high school. This time, I flatter with a smile, my younger sister is smarter than me. Listen to her. 01 Natalie, what do you think? Suddenly, my mother's voice rings in my ear. When I open my eyes and look, I find that I am still wearing the school uniform of junior high school. My younger sister is sitting on the sofa and shopping online on Taobao. My mother is looking at me earnestly. The identical scene is vividly in my mind. I realize that I have been reborn. I have been reborn on the day of the summer vacation of the second year of junior high school. In my previous life, during the summer vacation of the second year of junior high school, my mother signed us up for cram schools for the sprint to key schools next year for our senior high school entrance examination. But my younger sister didn't want to go. She said complacently while swiping Taobao, I can learn the things in textbooks just by looking at them once. There is no problem in getting into a key high school. I don't want to go to cram school. At that time, I kindly advised that the day after tomorrow learning is equally important. The speaker didn't mean it, but the listener took it to heart. Unexpectedly, the seed of hatred had been sown from this time. My younger sister and I were both admitted to key high schools. But my younger sister said that she could be admitted without taking cram classes. In high school, I went to the teacher's office to ask questions several times. She pretended to look for me on business several times. Under my supervision, my younger sister was admitted to a famous university relying on her talent and a little effort, and then returned from studying abroad and became a female doctor. But her fiancé thought her educational background was too high and said that people who are too shrewd are not easy to control and wanted to break off the engagement with her. My younger sister blamed all the mistakes on me and ran me over and killed me with a car. And my family abandoned the general to protect the chariot. In order to let my younger sister's genius gene continue, they spent money to find someone to take the place of my younger sister's crime. My younger sister is at large. Their family lives in harmony and completely forgets me. But God has given me another chance to start over. This time, in the face of my mother's inquiry. I looked at my younger sister and flattered with a smile, my younger sister is smarter than me. Listen to her. In this life, I will no longer have any sisterly affection. I want to watch you fall from the high platform with my own eyes and never be able to climb up again. 02 Neither of them, the mother and daughter, expected that I would actually agree. My mother looked at me doubtfully. Natalie, do you really not want your younger sister to accompany you? Her eyes were earnest, hoping that I could give a different answer. But I shook my head. No, I don't need anyone to accompany me. A disappointed expression appeared on my mother's face. Only after being reborn do I know that my beloved mother has actually been using me as a gun all along. Obviously, she wants both of us to go to cram schools and be admitted to good schools to bring honor to her face. But she asks me again and again and lets the harsh words come out of my mouth. She herself is completely free from blame. Perhaps from the moment my younger sister first showed her talent, our weight in her heart has been different. After my younger sister knew that she didn't need to take cram classes during the summer vacation, she bought a few more small skirts online. She also begged her mother to accompany her on a national tour. My mother has always listened to Nina. My younger sister persuaded her with just a few words and booked a plane ticket to Yunnan for a tour overnight. Before leaving, my younger sister, as before, gave me her summer homework and asked me to write it for her. In my previous life, she always said that she could do all the questions. She also said that it was kind of her to let me do the questions twice to review the old and learn the new. I actually foolishly believed it. Obviously, she is just lazy. This time, I immediately pushed the summer homework back without hesitation. I will go to cram school during the summer vacation. There are also homework in cram school. I don't have time. Seeing that she still wouldn't give up, I shouted loudly, "Mom," my younger sister said. Before I could finish, Nina immediately pulled me into the room and warned, "Try to tattle and see what happens." I smiled and stuffed the homework into her hand. My younger sister is a genius. Isn't a little summer homework still easily done? If I write it for you, people who don't know will think that you are bullying me. My younger sister has thought of me. Of course, I also have to think of my younger sister. After Nina heard this, her face was as black as coal. She took the homework and slammed the door and left. Her furious look is really extremely funny. In this life, I will never be a wrong person who gets nothing in return for doing a lot. 03 Nina and my mother had a wild time playing for a whole summer vacation, while I reviewed the knowledge of my previous life during the summer vacation. Efforts will always be rewarded. In the placement test at the beginning of the school year, I got the second place in the grade. My younger sister is still the first. Although I have lived again, I haven't touched textbooks for many years and have forgotten much knowledge. But it doesn't matter. I don't believe that efforts are worthless in front of talent. When I got home, the whole family cheered for my younger sister's grades again. No one noticed me who won the Best Progress Award at all. My mother introduced my younger sister as a genius to everyone she met. Even the background picture of her moments is my younger sister's wall of certificates. My mother is beaming with pride and keeps putting food into my younger sister's bowl. "Natalie, Mom loves you so much." I buried my head in eating and automatically blocked out the harmonious scene of them in my mind and recited the memorial on sending out the troops. It doesn't matter. I will love myself well. After eating, Mom took Nina to buy prizes. I went back to my room by myself, took out the compilation of real questions in high school entrance examination, and started doing exercises. In my previous life, I barely passed the score line and got into lynching number 1 high school. However, Nina was assigned to the key class, while I was in an ordinary class. This time, my goal is not only to be admitted, but also to be admitted to the best class in a high-profile way. 04 time slips away secretly through the fingers. The third year of junior high school passes quickly. In the blink of an eye, there is only 1 month left before the high school entrance examination. My younger sister has always dreamed of becoming a big star. She has devoted all her energy to becoming famous. She has tried out everywhere but has been repeatedly rejected. Meanwhile, I was adopted by a wealthy family by accident and was promoted to a top star. She therefore hates me to the core. On the day I was adopted again, my younger sister took the lead in singing a song that I sang in my previous life. After being selected, she said to me with a smile, "Sister, this time it's my turn to be a teenage idol." But she doesn't know that this is the beginning of her nightmare. 01 When the people from the Stella family came to the orphanage, my younger sister, who is fond of makeup, surprisingly washed off the makeup on her face for the first time. She also took the initiative to step forward and timidly sang a nursery rhyme that she had looked down on before. "Sister Yaya, isn't this song the one you often hummed usually?" A girl gently touched my hand. I said with a smile, "It's okay. If she likes it, let her sing it." Soon, the voices of the couple from the Stella family communicating with the dean came from the front. That song was my daughter's favorite when she was young. She once had a dream of becoming a singer. This one will do. Let's check her body again. If there are no flaws, we will adopt her. I know that my younger sister's wish has been fulfilled. I raised my head and watched her walk in front of me triumphantly and say words that only we can understand. "Sister, this time it's my turn to be a teenage idol." She patted my shoulder, with uncontrollable ecstasy in the corners of her eyes and brows. "And you, just stay in the orphanage and be laughed at by the whole class as a child without a mother." My younger sister couldn't wait to pack her things soon. And I looked at her back and silently said in lip language, "Thank you. Thank you for saving me from the doom of being killed." 02 In my previous life, under the cultivation of the Stella family, I did become a big star with unlimited glory. Almost all the city's LED screens were covered with my endorsements. But it wasn't until I died that I knew that they adopted me to swap my body with their daughter who was paralyzed in bed. And their daughter is already in her 30s. On the day I won the Best Actress award, Victoria called me back home. Yeah, we have given you the best of everything over the years. Now, it's time for you to repay us. She didn't give me any room for maneuver and had me taken to her daughter. I died in despair after being injected with drugs. The last scene I saw was the woman standing up in my body. For so many years, every night I would have the maid push me to your bedside. I really like your body so much. She let out a shrill laugh with my face. Now, this body is finally mine. But at present, my younger sister knows nothing. She quickly packed her things and went out. Sitting in the Rolls-Royce, she waved goodbye to me with a smile through the window. Just like in the previous life, we were separated by the dust kicked up by the car. Only at that time, she chased the car for a long time crying loudly, her face flushed red, running as if her life depended on it. She shrilly shouted, "Don't leave me behind. I don't want to live this poor life anymore. I also want to live the life of a rich person." But the Stella family's car didn't slow down at all because of this. In the end, she was forcibly dragged back by the dean and others. In this life, she has finally got her wish. I didn't have the slightest reluctance and turned around and went back to the orphanage. 03 The summer vacation passed quickly. After the division of liberal arts and sciences, I entered a new class. On the day of reporting for the new semester, as soon as I entered the classroom and sat down, I suddenly heard a commotion outside. Oh my God, who is this? Why is she dressed like this? She didn't even wear the school uniform? Keep your mouth shut. This is the new transfer student, the daughter of the Stella family group, Stella. This school is almost entirely funded by her family. She can dress however she wants. As soon as I looked up, I saw my younger sister, dressed in a small pink Chanel dress, walking in surrounded by a group of bodyguards. Now she is clearly used to the life of a noble lady, and her temperament is completely different from before. My younger sister also saw me at a glance and frowned unhappily. Is this still the top class? The threshold is not good. How can anyone get in? She turned to the head teacher and said, "Is it that my daddy and mommy didn't donate enough money to the school? How did you review it?" A drop of cold sweat slipped from the head teacher's forehead, and he stammered, not knowing what to say. Both my younger sister and I are of average talent. In my previous life, I was admitted with the lowest score, while she only went to a vocational high school. But later, after going through the almost devilish training and tutoring of the Stella family, my grades can be said to have improved by leaps and bounds. In the college entrance examination year, I got a score in the top 10 in the province. I got full marks in mathematics and became the most recognized all-round teenage idol in the entertainment industry. It's a pity that my younger sister always thought that my reputation was bought by the Stella family. She never affirmed my efforts. Looking at the head teacher's embarrassed look, I really couldn't help but stand up. Even if I am the last one, I was admitted by my own ability. On the contrary, I want to ask you, how did you get in? However, as soon as these words came out, the head teacher suddenly pushed his glasses fiercely. The last one? Then how dare you sit in this position? Hurry up and go to the back. I looked in the direction of his finger. That position was next to the trash can, surrounded by garbage thrown by classmates. The people sitting in front were also burly boys. Obviously, sitting there with my figure, I couldn't even see the blackboard. My younger sister raised her eyebrows, and the rest of the classmates also let out mocking laughter. I had nothing to say and took my school bag and walked to the back. The first class was mathematics. Sure enough, I was completely blocked by the people in front. The teacher also regarded me as a problem student and would ignore me when asking questions. Seeing that the textbook content was also very childish anyway, I simply gave up and covered my head with my coat and went to sleep. After sleeping for a class, when I woke up, I just heard the math teacher soliciting math competition contestants from the whole class. He said that I have very good conditions and if there is a role, he will give priority to me. If my parents didn't want me to study hard, I wouldn't be sitting here anymore. The entertainment circle is where I should be. During the conversation, a boy outside came in panting, his face flushed with excitement. Report, the latest news. Director Leo has brought people to our grade. His eyes were shining with excitement. At this moment, the school leaders are all in the office of the grade director. Help! There will be a star in our grade. The classmates were completely excited. Director Leo? I thought for a while and still couldn't resist poking the boy in the front row and asking, which Director Leo? Little Fat was scared of being beaten by me last time. His waist was sprained for several days. When I poked him, he instinctively shuddered and covered his waist. It's the Director Leo who specializes in shooting campus dramas. He looked at me in horror, his whole body on guard. Oh. I nodded and shrank back. In my previous life, this Director Leo hated me, a rich second generation, with capital behind me. He declared that he would never cooperate with me. Probably it has nothing to do with me in this life either. The class bell rang quickly, and the classmates soon stopped making noise and turned to whispering. Many people think that he is looking for my younger sister because her family is very powerful and she is very good at dressing up. She has also expressed her wish to be a star many times. But suddenly I heard a girl say, "Could it be Ivy? She is the most beautiful one in our grade." When my younger sister heard this sentence, she was putting on lipstick in front of the mirror. Immediately, she got angry. Are you sick? She threw down the mirror and glared directly at that girl. I tell you, when directors in the entertainment circle choose people, it's not so simple. Those who can be selected are all people with backgrounds. Don't talk nonsense if you don't understand. At this time, the voice of the teaching director suddenly came from outside. Yes, Director Leo. This student is in class 3. I can't tell. She doesn't talk much usually. I didn't expect that she is so lucky to be selected by you. All the classmates in our class gasped. Class 3? Isn't that our class? In the next second, a slow and deep male voice sounded. Thank you, Director. Your teacher doesn't need to accompany me in. Let me communicate with the student alone. 07 When Director Leo walked in with several assistants, the whole class didn't dare to breathe. My younger sister gave a proud laugh and was ready to be chosen. She held her head high and raised it up high, for fear that the director wouldn't see her. In fact, my younger sister who doesn't wear school uniforms is already particularly outstanding among all the students. But Director Leo still didn't even glance at her. His gaze slowly scanned the whole class. Uncle Leo. My younger sister finally couldn't help but speak. She reminded, I'm here. Director Leo looked at her when he heard the sound. A glimmer of doubt flashed in his eyes, but it was quickly overlooked. He nodded politely. My younger sister still didn't react. She couldn't help but ask, aren't you looking for me? At the same time, Director Leo's gaze fell on me at the back of the classroom. Classmate Ivy, I finally found you. His expression almost visibly changed from indifference to surprise. Let me introduce myself. I am Leo, a director. Are you interested in making movies? I was completely confused. My younger sister stood up suddenly. Why is it her? My younger sister almost couldn't help but shout out. But it's no use no matter how much she doubts. Director Leo said that he noticed me outside the examination room on the day I participated in the math competition. At that time, there were just reporters interviewing me. He listened by the side and thought that I was very suitable for the image of the female lead in his new drama. I suddenly understood. So the person sitting in that Maybach was him. I originally thought that from the day I was adopted, I would be completely cut off from the entertainment circle. Unexpectedly, by accident, I was selected again. Only this time, there is no longer the Stella family behind me. 08 In the next few days, my younger sister was obviously hit hard. She didn't go to school and didn't know what she was doing. Every day, many media came to interview me out of admiration, but they were all stopped outside by the school security. I am also happy to be quiet. This day, I was reading a book in the classroom. Suddenly, a classmate came over and said that the principal was looking for me. When I arrived at the principal's office, I saw Victoria's hypocritical face again after a long time. "Your classmate Ivy. Sit down. She looks kind and is slowly sipping a cup of tea. In my previous life, I was deceived by her appearance and finally died tragically in the 5th year after she adopted me." However, the younger sister sat coldly on one side, holding Victoria's arm and acting coquettishly. "Mom, it's her who insists on showing off and playing the leading actress in Uncle Leo's new drama." She pouted and said, "We all find her annoying." I don't know what means she used. "Everyone thinks this leading actress should be me." The principal immediately stood up angrily and said, "Ivy, what's wrong with you? As a student, instead of thinking about studying well, you are engaged in all kinds of messy things behind the scenes." I said calmly, "I did nothing. It was the director who chose me. But Stella is more suitable than you." Victoria interrupted me. "You can refuse." "Why should I refuse? What belongs to me, why should it be taken away by others?" I dug my fingernails into the palm of my hand and forcibly suppressed the hatred in my heart. "Is your daughter a human being while others are not? In your eyes, are others just objects that can be deprived of everything at any time? Ivy, how dare you talk to my mommy like that? You're going too far." The younger sister shouted and stood up. Victoria raised her hand to stop her. She still looked at me compassionately, and her gaze was even more kind. "You cannot agree. However, we have many ways to make you agree. Child, you are still too young. There are many paths in life. Why must you take the one that doesn't belong to you?" She took out a first prize certificate of the National Mathematics Competition from her bag. My name was written on it. After a while, she smiled and tore this certificate in half. She threw it into the trash can like garbage. "Some things, if you get them temporarily, will only make you lose even more miserably in the future." 09 That afternoon, the list of winners of the mathematics competition came out. There was only one person who won the first prize, not from the neighboring high school. It was me. Our math teacher was so happy that he rushed into the classroom with the list and kept giving me thumbs up. "You are really hiding your talents, Ivy. You are my idol now. No wonder you don't listen in class. You don't need to listen at all. Geniuses are always lonely." Those classmates who had taunted me before also showed ashamed expressions one after another. The math teacher also spent his own money to buy a large box of ice cream for us. When the class monitor and class cadres were distributing ice cream, the whole class was extremely happy. Only the younger sister was sitting on the chair and putting on makeup all the time. After she finished putting on makeup, she stood up directly and walked to the front of the platform. The class monitor thought she was going to take the ice cream and handed her one. "Here, Stella." However, after she took it, she deliberately let go. The snow-white cream top fell on the ground, splashing sticky all over the place. The classmates were all stunned. "Are you all so greedy and eat everything?" The younger sister turned to me coldly. "Ivy, I tell you, don't be too happy too early. Some things are destined not to belong to you." I looked at my younger sister indifferently. I just felt that her makeup today seemed especially thick. A few days later, the young lady who interviewed me that day came to my school to have a meal with me. She introduced herself as Diana and has been working in the journalism industry for 6 or 7 years. "I have always been optimistic about you. Although you are young, there is a kind of temperament on you, just like you have experienced many important events, calm and composed." Diana picked up a chicken leg for me. A string of Buddhist beads on her slender wrist was exposed at the cuff. "Congratulations on winning the first prize. Also congratulations on becoming the leading actress of director Leo's new drama at a young age." I accepted her kindness. "Thank you, sister. Only you have always supported me." She said with a smile, "I also have good news. In addition to the news about you, a talented and beautiful girl, this time, I also caught a hot topic that will soon become a headline. My colleague took pictures of a rich second generation who, in order to become the leading actress of director Leo's new drama, knocked on his door in the middle of the night and took off her clothes at the door. Now the parents of that rich second generation are doing emergency public relations, but I won't let them succeed. If people like this can enter the entertainment industry in the future, it will really be a mess. The movement of me eating the chicken leg stopped. Is this rich second generation surnamed Shen? Hush. Diana extended a finger and put it on her lips. She winked mysteriously at me. Can't say it yet. You will know next Monday. 17 to my surprise. Next Monday, what appeared on the headline was not the news about the rich second generation as Diana said. Instead, it was, a beautiful journalist who has been in the industry for many years was killed and her body was found floating in a wild lake. She was dragged into a black van on the side of the road on her way home from night shift. The deceased was abused before death. The police suspected that this was a premeditated revenge killing. From the coded video, I saw a string of Buddhist beads wrapped around the right hand of the corpse. I recognized that it was Diana's. 12 that night, I skipped evening self-study and left school. Fortunately, I was not paid attention to by the class teacher. Whether I was in the class or not, no one cared. A few hours later, I walked back to school absent-mindedly at night, thinking about some problems while walking. When I reached an intersection, I suddenly heard a burst of rapid footsteps coming from behind me. I turned around and found that it was actually my younger sister. She was wearing pajamas and running with disheveled hair, looking back constantly while running. What's wrong with you? I suddenly spoke, startling her. Ivy, let me ask you. In your previous life in the Stella family, did you feel something was wrong? She grabbed my wrist tightly, and her nails almost dug into my skin. I could feel that she was so anxious that she was about to cry. For example, Victoria made you drink a glass of milk every night, saying it was good for your health. Then you would sleep until dawn. But would there be a day when you suddenly didn't want to drink it and vomited a little? So at midnight, you felt as if the wall of the bedroom had moved. There was a sound coming from there, a sound of wheels rolling. My sister suddenly trembled violently, threw herself in front of me, and said to me in an almost whispering tone through gritted teeth, "Do you think there is still another person hidden in the Stella family? A person we have never seen. And that person is not far from us. It even appears in front of my bed every night." I moved my lips and wanted to tell her the truth. But I was also worried that with her mental capacity, she would reveal it quickly and bring unexpected disasters. So you really know something? My sister stared at me fixedly, her eyes wide with anger. No wonder you gave me the chance to be adopted. Say, did you intentionally harm me? Ivy, if I die, you won't have a good time either. However, before I could speak, an extremely gentle voice sounded not far behind me. Shao. Victoria, dressed in luxurious clothes and with a face like guanine, was standing there with several men in black. At that moment, my sister was like being paused. She released her hand that was grabbing me as if being shocked by electricity and turned her head extremely stiffly. Mommy, why aren't you sleeping well at home at night? What are you doing out here? Victoria's voice was like water dipped in honey. She walked over step by step, wrapped a coat around my sister, and put her hand on my sister's shoulder. Do you know that Mommy is almost worried sick about you? Come home with Mommy quickly. The temperature is low at night. Be careful not to catch a cold. She was like a mother who was extremely worried about her child and took my sister's hand. My sister followed her into the darkness like a puppet on strings. At a corner, my sister suddenly looked back at me. It's hard for me to describe what kind of look that was. Reluctance, remorse. Eventually turned into a dead silence of despair. My sister didn't return to school for the next few days. Everyone was used to this. The school teachers didn't dare to ask due to her background. But the more I thought about it, the more panicked I became. This day, I finally couldn't help but want to call the police. But I didn't expect. In the afternoon of that day, my sister actually returned to school safely again. She had a new school bag and her hair was tied up. The whole person exuded a feeling of being strange and curious about the outside world. What surprised me even more was, my sister usually looked at everything with disdain. But today, she would actually laugh to herself from time to time. Suddenly, my sister seemed to realize that I was looking at her, and she turned her head. When our eyes met, she suddenly stretched out 2 fingers and lifted the hair by her ear. And it was this action of hers that made my pupils contract. I suddenly thought of Victoria's own daughter, that emaciated woman with a deformed face. In my previous life, after exchanging bodies with me, she stood up in the tearful eyes of Victoria and Mr. Shen. I looked at her weakly and saw her walking stiffly towards me. am Selina. Selina. She repeated my previous life's name and burst out laughing suddenly. She looked at me and slowly stretched out 2 fingers and lifted the hair by her ear. That action I will never forget in my life. 14 I realized that this girl in front of me was no longer my sister. Although I have always had indifferent feelings towards my sister, but when I really learned that she might no longer be alive, my heart still couldn't help but ache for a moment. Ivy. The Stella in front of me, after being cultivated by the Stella family, completely mastered everything about my sister. She came to me in the way my sister called me. I heard that director Leo's new drama press conference is coming soon. Has he invited you? Invited. Congratulations. The rewards for the competition these 2 days will also be distributed. I heard that the first prize is a reward of 20,000 yuan from the school. I know. That's great. Stella showed an innocent and lovely smile and stretched out her hand to me. Congratulations again. The classmates around had been paying attention to our situation with sideways glances, thinking that Stella was coming to find trouble with me again, but unexpectedly she had such a reaction. What's the situation? Didn't Stella hate Ivy the most? Yes. Before, when Ivy dropped something and I picked it up for her conveniently, Stella glared at me angrily. Did Stella take the wrong medicine today or am I not awake? It's a rare sight in a lifetime. And Stella directly turned to everyone and said with a smile, "What are you talking about? What I did before was wrong. Now I sincerely apologize to Ivy. I hope she can forgive me and be good friends with me." I looked at this enlarged face so close at hand. It was so familiar, yet so strange. After a moment, I also smiled and took her hand. Of course it's good. I know you were just joking with me before. How could I really hold a grudge against you? That's great. She hugged me tightly. 15 The next day, the top student in the next door class found me and asked mysteriously with a face full of curiosity, "Have you received the bonus for the math competition? How much do you have?" I frowned. Has it been distributed? Why haven't I received it? I hope you can behave yourself. In the future, don't bring disgrace to the school for your own personal gain. After he finished speaking, he left. It was during the break, and students were coming out one after another to get water. Suddenly, the dean of students came head-on. He coldly dropped 2 sentences. "Ivy, you cheated in this math competition. Although the certificate has been issued, the school will not tolerate this kind of behavior. There is no talk of bonuses. I hope you can behave yourself. In the future, don't bring disgrace to the school for your own personal gain." After he finished speaking, he left. The boy who was talking to me just now looked at me in astonishment. You. Is this true or false? I had known long ago that the Stella family would not let me have an easy time. So I looked at him expressionlessly and said, "If I say I rely entirely on my own real ability, do you believe me?" No one would believe it. The person who spoke was a classmate of ours. At this moment, she held up her mobile phone high and shouted to everyone as if she had discovered a new continent, "Everyone, come and see the hot search. This big star in our class is really popular. Cheating has been posted online." My eyes narrowed slightly. Immediately after, I stepped forward and snatched her mobile phone. I saw a hot search titled #Leo Director's New Drama's Female Lead Ivy Cheats in Exams on Weibo. At this moment, this hot search is constantly climbing. I clicked into the square and found that the relevant information was a girl who looked very similar to me at first glance. In the photo, the girl sneaked into the toilet. A competition question booklet accidentally fell out of her pocket. The marketer who posted this photo claimed, "This was submitted to me by an examinee on the day of the competition. For some reason, I finally couldn't help but post it today. What's the point of getting the first place by secretly flipping through materials in the name of going to the toilet?" Someone immediately dug out the interview I received that day. The clothes I was wearing were the same as in this photo. For a while, there was a chorus of abuse in the comments. Netizens immediately shouted at director Leo not to use someone with such low moral character as me. However, to my surprise, director Leo actually responded quickly. "I have already called the organizers. They said that part of the surveillance is missing and the specific situation is still under investigation. Can it be determined that Ivy cheated just based on this photo with an unclear face?" These days, framing someone is too easy. Strangely, not long after he posted this Weibo, it was pushed to the top of the hot search. Obviously his Weibo is not very popular yet, but it has reached the top in an extremely short time. I, who am well versed in the ways of the entertainment industry, immediately realized something was wrong. Sure enough, an hour after this Weibo was posted, a well-known paparazzo in the entertainment industry posted a blog saying, "Of course, one should protect one's own woman. I can recognize that this paparazzo belongs to the Stella family." 16. His intention is extremely sinister. The accompanying picture is of an adult man holding the hand of a schoolgirl in school uniform. This Weibo was also forwarded by many big versus on Weibo who also belong to the Stella family. The blogger who previously posted photos slandering me for cheating also responded in due course, "TSK TSK TSK, this is why I didn't dare to post it at that time. Who would dare to offend this big shot?" Under such a malicious arrangement, netizens were completely outraged. Many onlookers rushed to the square indignantly to shout and curse. Damn, I knew that those who can enter the entertainment industry are not ordinary people. I thought this director Leo was a clear stream in the entertainment industry. I didn't expect him to be like this. Ivy is really disgusting at a young age. Boycott this drama together. My brother is still playing the male lead in it. Take my brother away. We don't want this. This Ivy is so disgusting. Creating the reputation of a genius scholar beauty. I'm about to vomit. No wonder my sister wasn't selected in the audition. It turns out that the director already had someone in mind. Oh, why are you like this? Return my mobile phone. The girl deliberately waited until I finished reading these before starting to shout. I gave her a sharp look. Shut up. She was startled by me and didn't dare to speak immediately. At this time, Stella, who had been hiding in the crowd and using her as a pawn, finally came out. She sighed and hypocritically put her hand on my shoulder. Yeah, I definitely believe that none of these things have anything to do with you. However, I just received an invitation from the investor of director Leo's play. Those people hope that I can replace you. Don't worry, of course I refused. I will go to tomorrow's press conference with you. I will state my attitude on the spot. Her words immediately won the favor of many classmates. After a while, I laughed softly. Good. Tomorrow, you must go. It's time for this big drama to come to an end. 17. That night, I sent all the information I had searched for during this time to the police. Diana came to me that day and said that the rich second generation was my sister. On the day she was killed, she took the original video to negotiate with several media outlets. Unexpectedly, she was betrayed and met with a disaster. But she had also made an early backup of that video. She even had other evidence unfavorable to the Stella family in her hands. The people of the Stella family have been looking for those materials. For this reason, they almost demolished Diana's studio. But they don't know that those things are all in Diana's boyfriend's hands. All of this was told to me by Diana's boyfriend. I respect his choice to remain silent for self-protection, but I am not afraid. Since the day I was reborn, I have been searching for evidence of the Stella family's tax evasion and illegal bribery according to the clues I knew in my previous life. The building of the Stella family is finally about to collapse. At the new drama press conference, I almost visibly found that director Leo had lost a lot of weight compared to our last meeting. But he still mustered his spirits to console me and said resolutely, "This matter is clear to both of us. Some villain wants to force me to give in this way, but I will not comply. I can never make another drama again. I can be forced to retire from the entertainment circle, but I will never use people from his family." Following his gaze, I saw Victoria and Stella seated in the VIP seats. Victoria obviously treats her own biological daughter differently from us. Her smiling gaze has been constantly on Stella. Stella still keeps looking around with a curious gaze. In front of her is a table full of pastries. Sometimes when she gets food on her face, Victoria will take the initiative to reach out and wipe off the food residue for her. I gently leaned close to the director's ear and said, "Director, don't worry. Today, everything will be revealed, and those who do evil will get the punishment they deserve." The director was stunned for a moment and looked at me in astonishment. I winked at him with a smile. "You'll know in a while." Sure enough, when the press conference officially started, the reporters casually asked 2 questions related to the drama and then couldn't wait to direct their spearheads at us. "Director Leo, please explain the recent hot search. Does Director Leo know Ivy before casting? Ivy, it is rumored that you are from an orphanage. Do you have a father complex because of this? Ivy, you have always been known as a beautiful girl with excellent academic achievements. But now you have been exposed to so many scandals. What do you want to say?" A media under a certain company even said publicly, "Director Leo, our boss is also an investor in your drama. He is extremely disappointed in this situation. Do you consider changing the leading actress?" She turned her head and pointed at Stella, who was dressed up in the center of the venue. "For example, that girl. I think she is also very suitable. Looking closely, her eyebrows and eyes are somewhat similar to Ivy's." For a moment, the cameras of major media were all aimed at Stella. She put on a look of being at a loss and stood up, saying softly and weakly, "Don't be like this. Ivy and I are classmates and good friends. I am here today especially to cheer for her." After a pause, she suddenly pretended to be defending me and said, "Why do you media pay so much attention to people's private lives? Everyone has the right to pursue the life they want, right?" She was nominally defending me, but in fact, she just confirmed my charges. As she wished, many reporters rushed to her to conduct interviews. "Miss Stella, you said you are Ivy's classmate. Can you tell us about her usual character? Is the cheating in the competition true or false? Is Ivy really a top student? What about her private life? Is it the same as rumored? What is her relationship with Director Leo?" Ivy. Stella looked at me hesitantly, frowned and said to the reporters, "Even if she is not a top student, it's none of your business, right? What era is it now? Is there anything wrong with free love?" As soon as these words came out, the whole audience was in an uproar. Those stains were completely put on me by her. She was still shouting excitedly, "No, what's the point of you asking these? How old is she? Do you have to force a student to death before you give up? What's the difference between you forcing her like this and being a murderer?" At this moment, I finally couldn't help laughing. I took the microphone and said slowly, "Yes, there is indeed a murderer here. And that person, Stella, you are very familiar with, aren't you?" 20. Victoria's eyes suddenly became sharp. Stella didn't react for a moment. Her eyes were spinning rapidly. She wanted to say something. But I had already turned to the staff I had arranged long ago. "Next, I have a video I want to show everyone. I understand that all media friends are busy completing KPIs. Well, today, I will let everyone complete their tasks at once." At the same time, the words, "New Drama Press Conference," on the original screen slowly disappeared. The next second, a video suddenly appeared on the screen. It was the video of my younger sister knocking on Director Leo's door wearing only a sexy suspender that day. "Director Leo, what benefits did Ivy give you? Do you like younger ones? Then you might as well look at me. I am younger and more energetic. Please be self-respecting." Director Leo was extremely angry and tried to close the door, but was blocked by my younger sister who took a step forward. "Stella, how old are you? How can you do such shameless things? Besides, I tell you, I never consider anyone who uses improper means when casting, including your parents. You go back and tell them to give up this idea. Don't use this means of coercion and bribery on me. As soon as this video was shown, there was an uproar below. Victoria stood up all of a sudden. She wanted to direct people to go up and turn off the screen, but was controlled by the people I had arranged early. I just want her to watch all this helplessly. Hearing someone whispering, "Are we being used as guns?" and misunderstanding Director Leo, Director Leo's eyes instantly turned red. He turned his head, took off his glasses and secretly wiped them with the back of his hand. And the video continued. The background of the next video is in Stella's family group company. Leo, that old bastard, is simply ungrateful. General Manager Shen angrily splashed a cup of tea on the ground. Victoria advised with a smile, "For those who don't cooperate with us, as per the old rule, destroy them. As for that Ivy, I've already arranged people. Soon, the news of her suspected cheating will be all over the internet. Next, I will bring her and Leo to ruin. But this is not the end. The continuous flashing lights make the screen extremely bright. I pick up the microphone and say loudly, 'Next, let everyone witness the true face of the murderer I just mentioned.' When a chat record be suspected to sent by Victoria to Mr. Shen appears on the screen, which reads, 'Recently, a reporter has been causing us trouble. This person is very difficult to deal with. Money is useless.'" She finally screamed in shock. "Ivy." Victoria pointed at me tremblingly and denounced. "Isn't it just that Stella might take away your leading role? Do you have to fabricate facts like this? Where did these videos and chat records come from? Do you know this is illegal? I want to find a lawyer. I want to call the police." I smiled. "Call the police, right? I've already called for you." I walked off the stage with a smile and came in front of her. Victoria's gaze trembled under my stare. Stella wanted to come and pull me, but was pulled away by the assistant of Director Leo. After so many years, facing these eyes so closely again, I really can't tell what's in my heart. It was she who held my hand and gave me a home. It was also she who injected me with drugs and took my life. In the past, I struggled desperately. Even when I had a high fever and was on an 4 drip, I still insisted on filming. I just didn't want to disappoint her. I really once regarded her as my mother and the most important person in my life. On the day when I won the title of Best Actress, I rushed home recklessly to share this joy with her. But I didn't expect that she would choose to end everything for me on that day. The police are already on their way. Do you think they will interrogate you first about the case of abusing and killing reporter Diana, or about you raising a team and illegally conducting human experiments? Victoria stared at me with wide eyes. Fear made her unable to breathe. I patted her on the shoulder with a smile. "I believe in karma. What about you? Did you have a moment of worry when you did those things?" "Ivy, you beast." Victoria said through gritted teeth, "Why did you do this? I really regret not noticing you earlier. I always thought you were just a good-for-nothing, but I didn't expect you to have such deep scheming." She stared at my eyes tightly. The once flawless disguise has finally cracked open, exposing the dirty and decayed core inside. I was indeed a good-for-nothing once, but unfortunately. I slowly bent down and whispered in her ear. "In my previous life, you have already taught me all this hand in hand. My good mommy." At the end of this day, the police came. What greeted Victoria and Stella was handcuffs and ruin. Stella couldn't help but burst into tears, while Victoria seemed to have lost her soul and kept looking back at me in a daze. I waved at her and reminded her extremely considerately, "I know that family affection is the most important thing in your heart. Don't worry. Mr. Shen is already waiting for you in prison. Your family of 3 will be reunited soon." 21 Epilogue. The police found a female corpse that had been dead for a long time in Stella's family basement. Under police interrogation, everything became clear, and all the crimes of Stella's family were also made public. Everyone involved received the punishment they deserved. I declined Director Leo's proposal to buy me a villa as a thank you gift. I still return to the day when I was an orphan. When my sister was about to leave the orphanage, she was packing up. A girl tried to help her, but she glared at the other person fiercely and said, "Get up. Take your dirty hands away. I will soon become a big star. Are you worthy to talk to me?" She was talking to the girl, but her eyes were looking at me. From today on, I will not miss any opportunity. I will soon be worlds apart from you. My sister is determined to seize every opportunity with her rebirth. But I think that God's favor and our rebirth, this unique environment and ability are not for us to dominate those who have not been favored by fate. Instead, it is to help them. I pulled the girl away and touched her head. Don't listen to her. Study hard. Sister promises you that in the future you will become an extremely excellent doctor. A good doctor with superb medical skills, true benevolence and morality, and speaking up for vulnerable groups. Doctor? The girl chewed on these two words and said with a confused face, "Can I?" But the head teacher asked my parents to come last week and said that people like me have no future. You can. I bent down gently and looked into her eyes. Believe me. I also believe in you 100%. The past story has ended, and a new story is about to begin. That will also be a new and wonderful life. The end.